Hey there, Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology Update for July 6th through 13th, 2026. Well, wow, we are in some of the most intense astrology of our lifetimes, experiencing the third and final Jupiter square Chiron. Jupiter and Chiron came together first in October and then December 2025, and now from July 1st through 3rd, they came into their final square. This energy that started all the way back in September of 2025 is about coming to this place where we cannot continue in our evolution the way it's going. And that's the energy of Jupiter in Cancer was in square to Chiron in Aries. Chiron, the wounds over where we've given away our life force. Jupiter in Cancer, expanding our love and connection to Mother Earth and calling us to stand up and claim back our organic dream. This is everything the astrology is saying right now, and we're really feeling it because on July 7th, just coming off of the heels of this Jupiter square Chiron, the sun comes into square with Saturn. Now, just before the Jupiter square Chiron, that was from the 1st to the 3rd of July, the sun came into a square with Neptune on the 26th. And so it's very powerful that the sun in Cancer, where Jupiter was for the first two squares with Chiron, is now squaring up with Neptune and Saturn like bookends around this very transformative moment, the line in the sand, the point of no return in humanity's journey. Jupiter in square to Chiron is saying that we will do whatever we need to do to save Mother Earth's organic original dream, even if that requires fully embodying our light and revealing it to the world. There's so much conflict within the supernova soul right now, this call to reconnect with our spiritual energies, connection to guidance source, to our creation energy in our body and our life available to us. And the thing that is holding us back on all levels has to do with a strange energy around our own vows that we've made as supernova souls throughout this evolution being used against us. As an example, the vow of secrecy. And yes, we indeed had to hide who we are and everything about all the teachings and the technologies, to keep it safe. We had to hide ourselves, disconnect from each other to keep safe. But I sense that there's quite a few supernova souls that are recognizing that they've survived through much that they shouldn't have survived through. And then we have to ask the question, who's protecting us from who and what? Because if we needed to hide and then we kind of got caught into this, like we need their protection to keep us safe. And now that we've survived through so much, we're like, tell me again what your protection is keeping us safe from. Because we've survived all you put us through. So the gig is up. This is this place that we're at. It's very definitive. And I guess the main message is what's happening right now is that we have the north node of the moon and the south node of the moon in Virgo, north node of the moon in Pisces, sitting at 0 degrees. The nodes of the moon move backwards through the signs, just like the shift of ages. So we're coming to the end of the Piscean age, moving into the Aquarian age. And that means we're at the beginning of the sign of Pisces, and the beginning of the Aquarian age is the end of the sign. That's very interesting because that means that the nodes, as they move at the end of July on the 28th, will move into the sign North Node Aquarius, South Node Leo. Very different energy. The nodes are about destiny. The North Node, our path forward, and our South Node, what from the past is holding us back. So with the node sitting at 0 degrees, we're at 0. The Fool, this place we've been for years. Like we thought we made a leap into something completely new, but we're like suspended in time and space because why? They're blocking it at every turn. Why? Because we don't think it's ours, or don't think we can handle it, or don't think we deserve it. So all of this is having to work out in our psyche and our subconscious, and it's really like cult programming. This astrology is saying, hey, look back, way, way back. This story is an old story. We've been working against these same MFers this whole time. And are we going to finally get somewhere in this now that we can see that we are the holders and the keepers of the true wealth, the resources? This is the blatant, unavoidable truth of our reality right now. Human souls in bodies connected to Mother Earth's electromagnetic field hold all the power of the whole universe. Every other being or entity that is using the energies of Mother Earth is not warranted, does not have permission. It's illegal. Who is going to keep the authority of Mother Earth's laws and rules? Jesus? Because part of the deal with coming to this place of the end of the Piscean age and the North Node, the last thing in Pisces. We've had something in Pisces since 2011. Of Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, dragging us through the delusions and the deceptions and into the dungeons and the darkest places, especially for those souls, those brave souls of light that continue to incarnate through the persecutions of the Piscean age and just being dragged through the mud, re-traumatized at every turn in order to keep us in that trauma programming. And so now we're seeing through this bigger, dark, nefarious plan of controlling humanity through trauma programming all the way back to Atlantean time that they blamed us for, to make sure that we won't go anywhere near that power. And now we have to sort through a whole bunch of lies and deceptions, MK Ultra programming now, but all the way back to Atlantean time, of constant messages around whether or not we deserve, whether it's ours, whether we can handle it, whether or not we'll survive through it, whether or not we'll be punished. And this game is just like becoming so incredibly obvious. Okay? So it's like the light is growing, and that is calling out the demons, calling out this darkness, calling out the parasitic feeders, because they just can't help themselves. They're just like, I gotta get in on that. But in that bloom of the creepy, there is the absolute, undeniable evidence that we have the wealth that they're all looking for. And so that means that all the wealth and resources and energy that they're using was stolen from us. This is the truth that we cannot get around. Like that we cannot move any further, because the deal is that when something is stolen and then becomes clear, the person is caught in the act of stealing, or the entity or the organization or the beings, then it needs to be publicly displayed that this theft has occurred. The perpetrators of the theft must be held accountable, and the goods must be returned. And that's where we're at. because here we are. We see through you creating trauma. So we're scared of trauma and our own power. And then continual triggering of trauma, because the trauma-based programming is like just traumatize the person, break them down in their psyche until they don't even know who they are or what's up or what's down. And they will accept anything to avoid that re-triggering of the trauma. And what we've also been presented with, all of humanity, but specifically supernova souls, with isolation, blockage, deliberate, very deliberate and harmful blockage and interference with our direct connection to source and guidance, and continual gaslighting against the truth of our reality. And so we recognize that the victimization, the rape, the infiltration of Mother Earth is happening in our very own bodies, in our very own psyche. And how do we stop it? Because apparently no does not mean no with these people. Or they're not people, energies, entities. But the fact that it's like, so the place we've been told again and again where we're at in our evolution, that we cannot go forward into the golden age of abundance while we're leaking it out to the parasitic forces. So we're having a bloom, and it's like, it reminds me of the Bible verse talking about how, like, you can't separate out the wheat from the tares, or the weeds from the growth, until they get big enough. Because if you go try to pull out the weeds, it's going to pull out the new good growth too. So you have to wait until they both get big enough so that you can then separate it out. And that's what's going on. In a way, supernova souls are like a trap for these entities, and because they cannot help themselves. And they were breaking all the rules and exposing themselves left and right because they are so desperate to have what we have, what we're starting to take back. So it's really important that we understand that we're at this, the North Node at 0 degrees Pisces is bringing this total replay. And we've had this again and again. All these patterns from the past, right? And you're like, loop-de-loop, Groundhog Day. I can't believe it's repeating again. But this is really important. And I think it has to do with this whole, like, the node switching signs and the ages moving and contemplating this backwards motion of the nodes and the shift of ages when all the other planets move forward through the zodiac except for retrogrades. But they're not really retrograde. They just appear to be retrograde. And so we're kind of at this, Mother is coming through with this message around, like, that sometimes in order for things to be unwound and corrected, they have to play out exactly backwards from the way that they played out. I'm hoping that means, and I have had a vision from the beginning, like, that those of us that were there, this group of souls that survived through so much, and, called the chosen ones or whatever, and they're present, witness, preparation, and a part of the Christ event. And it was this glorious moment of coming together in the teachings and the movement and the energy, and then all was destroyed into disbursement and persecution and punishment for being one of the light or having any, divulging who you are on any level. And this all replayed in these last COVID years too, still. It's very dangerous to speak your mind in certain audiences. And so we shut up, don't we? And then it's like, well, all these people that are spewing hate and judgment and misunderstanding, and all the people that know truth are just going along with it to keep the peace for now, hoping that the light's going to come through. But anyway, so just understanding that we have to go backwards through the patterns, but we also have to, we can't roll over. This is a revolution. We have no choice. It's us or them. We came here to save organic earth for human evolution, and to save soul, to capture back these parts of our soul essence that have been stolen. And so it's like right now it's a place, and this is the energy of Sun square Saturn. It's a standoff because Saturn represents the old guard and the old laws and the old rules. And the astrology and the whole energy, the flip of the time we're in, going back to the geometry of the feminine, is saying that we've got to correct back to that. And so for the correction to occur, she says that we've got to rewrite and unravel. And so we're going back to the very beginning. And if we're going backwards, then does that mean we're being crucified right now? Because this is the message. It's like, those that was like following in the steps of Yeshua and there with him, like we have a different way of going through the death and rebirth, resurrection mystery, and maybe it's this, it's like, well, our light body that Yeshua showed us was possible, it protects us from everything. And we simply need to turn it on now. We've gone through enough. The sacrifice, the debt has been paid. To whom? Who are we paying a debt to? If consciousness is within us, see? And then we need a savior. And Jesus can't come save us because it's within. The Christ consciousness is within. We have to save ourselves. And yet we're blocked at every turn. And the quarantine. So we have to look at what the forces of control have sought to block the most. And this is kind of what's being laid out for us in clarity right now. Like, hey, they have what they want, and they'll stop at nothing to get it from you. You have nothing, they have nothing you need, Oh, okay. And like the clarity of this and the clarity of our absolute birthright to our advanced technological abilities in our very own body. So they've blocked this at every turn through technological implants in our body. But really, it comes down to, it feels like the core energy of what is attempting to be blocked is our connection to source, our connection to guidance, our higher self. But in that, the energy of that is this deep connected peace. So many people, part of the dynamic of the programming is to get us to accept an AI mimic simulation reality, to be so tortured, so alone, so unsupported, so scarcity, poverty, that you'll just accept the next thing that comes along. And this is, I've seen pattern after pattern, right? You could see it with beating you down and then sending in your psychological handler, because you're going to accept it. You're not going to accept a psychological handler if you're not beaten down. And the supernova souls are so badass and resilient, even though I know it's a struggle right now, but we're being tested in this totally ridiculous way. This is all other things like, who made you authorities over our spiritual evolution when you are not as evolved as where we came from? Another obvious truth on the table. You want to control humanity and keep human consciousness enslaved? But human consciousness is more evolved than the creatures that you are. You want us to accept corruption, to become corrupt ourselves, so that we accept corruption and misalignment and infiltration and rape. And no means no. Mother Earth is waking up. And so there's just this kind of call of like, okay, it's one thing to declare your independence. It's another thing to finish the war. And the actual last battle of the U.S., the revolution, American Revolution, wasn't until 1781. 4 or 5 years after the Declaration of Independence. And so here we go. And but the war is very different. And yet, part of the programming, like staying hidden, we're in surveillance state. If we're still buying into the fact that we have to keep our light and our identity hidden when they're following us around everywhere, like harassing us, no, we're not. It's like, that's the thing, right? So that's an example of our own vow to ourselves and to our soul group, this very special group that vowed to keep these secrets and keep ourselves secret, keep dispersed. And then they're using that against us, saying that you need us now to keep you safe and secret. And it's like, from what? Safe from what? Because you guys are ridiculous. And this is the energy of this absolute clarity that's coming on the table, as everything to do with the sun in Cancer, Mercury retrograde in Cancer. On the heels, Jupiter has just moved into Leo. That's what made that Jupiter square Chiron. But the sun in Cancer in square to first Neptune and then Saturn, bookends around this Jupiter square Chiron, is saying that our human identity, the truth of who we are as organic human souls, is the key, the mystery, the truth, the wealth, everything. Because non-organic life that mimics life cannot hook up to Mother Earth's field. Our technologies in our body the requirement is to be in coherence with Mother Earth's field. Now, this is one of the main things that it feels like the goal of a simulation would be, is to interfere with coherence, our ability to connect with our organic life force, our ability to manifest and create. And you think all those blessings, all those prayers, all those wishes for healing for you, your family, the world, all the cries for help, do you think they haven't been heard? Or do you think they've been blocked? And what happens when that shit starts landing home, right? That's the tsunami of love. That's the dam breaking, because they cannot block this energy. They can't get rid of this energy. They can only attempt to block it. And then that's up to us saying, oh yeah, probably you shouldn't. Yeah, it's not dangerous. Don't let me near that, And it's like, you better let us near that or we're going to actually go near it. We're going to take it and we're going to use it against you, because this is the other myth. Okay. Like, we need to stay hidden and be protected. And then this other myth that if we defend ourselves, we will be creating karma. This is very tricky and confusing, okay? And it's like the biggest trick in all of the interpretations of scriptures, because there's this this God. Once you have a God outside of yourself, then that God is controlling you and can punish you, reward you. You need to have their permission. Yeshua's teachings, even though it was totally distorted with the Catholic Church, and control mechanisms, which was actually Satanism, that still, those teachings stand. That we have the power within, the kingdom is within us. So if we're waiting for a savior, we're going to be waiting. And the savior has to come from here. But see, the whole energy of waiting for God's justice, then we're accepting that God is outside of ourselves. And if we can have justice in our own field in the moment, that we get to decide whether or not we're infiltrated by and violated by external technology and psychic interference. This is so illegal, so wrong, and so bad what they've done to us. And so this is the place that we're at, where we have to say, okay, I have to either decide I'm going to let them win and take organic Mother Earth, or I'm going to fight for life. And that happens on a cellular level in our very own body. And we have no choice but to come into light body. There's no fear around this. We've done it before. There's no death required. We've already gone through hell and back incarnating in the Piscean age. There is no sacrifice required. There's no protection required. There's no permission required. And it's about us standing up and saying, wait a minute. And that's where we're at. Because if we look at the replay of events, kind of we're seeing with this 250-year anniversary of the Declaration of Independence in the U.S., the purpose of the Declaration was to inform the public of the basis and inform, the whole, the beginning of the Declaration says, hey, we're breaking contracts with you. We're saying we're not associated with you. And so it's a human respect to explain why. Okay? We're not saying there's a negotiation here. We're saying we are not playing your games anymore. We don't have to, you don't get to tax us. You don't get to tell us what we can do and what we can't do. And you have no say in our government or our politics. And this is where we have to understand we need to get to in our own consciousness. We are being invaded on a level that is just, this is why I was called to do the owning your energy field class, energetic field class again. And we just started that. The second class is on Wednesday this week. Please consider joining that. Sliding scale starting at $55 because this is the most important thing. And are you here to be a part of it? Like you can do something about this. Because I'm saying, are you scared? Are you still feeling scared over your light, over who you are, over what you've agreed to stay hidden within you? Because that fear we've discovered is reptilian programming, completely foreign to what humanity's original DNA code. We have a level of anxiety that tells us to take action, but the energy of fear is something created and an infiltration into our DNA. We did a series through the activations, the Capricorn full moon, and we're coming up on the Cancer new moon and the solstice soul group session. And all of the work I do is about taking a hold of the authority we have within our own being and acting upon this, clearing the contracts and clearing this fear programming. And we had amazing discoveries. But why is it not taking hold? The reptilian clearing of this reptilian programming, because supernova souls are scared. Humanity is being in the grip of fear of the next trauma and catastrophe. But we keep clearing this again and again and again. So all the prayers, all the contract clearing, all the meditations, the mantras, the hope, the love, it is just waiting at the gate. But if we don't take this next step, we could lose it all. That's what this astrology is kind of saying, like, hey, because Mother Earth is crying out to be heard. Nobody wants to listen. She's the planet we live on. She's a sentient being. Violated, raped, held captive. So who's going to stand for her? Jesus? Are we still waiting? So this is this call, okay? And the Declaration of Independence was basically like about garnering public support and financial support and from the colonies and armies for what George Washington was trying to do, and saying, hey, we appointed you, but not appointed him as commander of the army a year ago, but then his people, they're fighting without shoes. And so this is kind of the energy of like all these resources out there, brand new shiny cars. There's about 100 of them following me around. And where's the resources for the true work? It can't happen until we get actual truth. And this is where we stand. And I keep seeing this picture I have from the beginning of this whole drama, the movie that we're being shown, which is also a waste of resources. You know, are we waiting for humanity to wake up, or are we MK Ultraing them deeper asleep? Because the MK Ultra hearings simply triggered the MK Ultra in humanity to make it more programming, right? Like we are in deep in a mind trap, most of humanity. If you're in the matrix, you get to live your life fine and everything works for you. And then those that are not complying, you know, because this is what they do. It's like scarcity, trauma, beat you down, break you down, you know, so you'll accept a false reality because anything's better than that. No, it is not going to do, because some of us remember what it feels like to be organically connected. And this is what comes back to the things that they, you know, and all the big scary things they've created. What are they really scared of us doing? Being at peace, being connected, and most of all, being together. 2 or more. And we are isolated and we're complying with a psychic quarantine. We can never, it's like, okay, so we're still harboring subconscious fear over coming into our power, turning our light on. Being seen is really the fear. But we're supposed to be together. And ever since COVID, that was about identifying who won't go along with the program and putting them in their own technological quarantine, creating a whole hive mind. But guess what? That same hive mind, Mother Earth says, gives us absolute dominion and authority over the whole thing. So no means no, but you won't get out and remove the implants, the technology from the human body, then you're coming along with us. And get ready, because that shit might burn you. We've been through hell and back. We've survived. We know we're okay. I have to say that there's little to no fear over the actual just letting our body and our fields activate. And this is what we have to understand, that all fear is fear programming. So as long as we don't have the truth in our world about what's being done to us, you know, humanity can never stand up. And so there's this picture that I've seen in the external movie of humanity waking up and getting really, really angry, recognizing that the whole nightmare of our current situation has to do with legalized propaganda coming from the media outlets and storming those places, you know? Liars and thieves. We need some coal and some tar and feathers. We were like ready to have a revolution, okay? Humanity is not going to roll over at this point, and there is hell to pay for what you've done to them. And that's the energy of this Declaration of Independence. So the new declaration that needs editing and help, and it just had to get out there into the world. It just had to get out there. I worked with a very fascinating experiment to work with AI on the declaration, see how AI wants to agenda and water it down, and never call out its own games. And we will not have it. So the declaration is in 3 parts. This preamble is just this description, this understanding that we cannot declare independence from non-human entities that have programmed us with technology against our will, against all laws and rules of Mother. You know, we cannot stand up to them until we realize we're separate from them. We're not them. They perpetrate deliberate harm through stealing, theft of our resources to perpetrate deliberate harm on humanity. That is not who we are. So then but it's the beautiful thing, she says, because the bloom of this evil is like, there's no other conclusion, is that humanity's divine. And we need to say that shit, right? I mean, oh my God. And this is what they want you to think. The gaslighting is like, oh no, you're the last one. Everybody else has been corrupted or replaced or cloned, and no more good people in the world. It's only you out there. And I guess Elijah felt that way, but then there were 7,000 prophets that started the whole movement that allowed the Christ mysteries to be revealed to us at the last shift of ages. You are not alone, and we've made it through, and we're here. And we are not going to stop until we take back 100% of what's ours, because if we leave one little festering bastion of this bullshit, it will try to grow, and we cannot have it. The authority of Mother Earth and human consciousness must land home. And this is what this astrology, I haven't even said anything about the astrology. But this Jupiter in moving into Leo, understand. So we have Jupiter is now at 1 degree of Leo, but it was at 0 degrees, an exact square to Chiron at 0 degrees, and then the nodes of the moon at 0 degrees, Pisces and Virgo. So there's all this zero. Like Chiron only makes it to 0 degrees of Taurus. But let's talk about this, because Chiron stays in the sign for about 8 years. So this sextile the square between Jupiter and Chiron, and then the sextile between the North Node and Chiron. The North Node at 0 degrees Pisces, Chiron at 0 degrees Taurus. This is very important because Jupiter and Saturn made this sextile in these signs. And the energy around Jupiter and Saturn sextile in Pisces and Taurus was the cleaning up of the lies of the past, the delusions, so that we can come into our true wealth. Everything speaking to an inevitable wealth revaluation, because all that money, all those fancy cars, all that shit, you can stack it, pile it up. Look at, it's the lowly, and being kept lonely, deliberately human, alone, but it's the lowly human who has all the power, because it's our organic connection to life force that allows us to connect to Mother's field and to access the advanced technology. This advanced technology is stronger than any tower. One soul in the full expression can overcome all of this bullshit technological interference. No wonder they're hounding us. And yet we cannot lose. In fact, we already won, because once you know that you have the power, you've already won. And we're not going to back down. And we've overcome. And we're remembering who we are. And the truth is coming out. So this is a very powerful energy of Chiron and Taurus over the next 8 years, although it's only making it to 0, right? So we're just kind of hanging out there. What is this about? But Chiron is our deepest wounds, and Taurus is about embodiment. Leo and square, or Jupiter and Leo and square. Jupiter wants to expand into the light. He's so frustrated because he's like, and then the square with Chiron, and it's like constant restriction. And then Sun square Saturn, where the physical reality just is constantly working against the spiritual evolution, which is the exact opposite of how it should be on Earth. Like what Mother Earth wants to be, what Mother Earth originally intended to be, that's the correction that is occurring. It's in her codes. It's in the geometry. This is the laws of Moses. It's the measurements of the temple that David brought, and it's the codes of nature that Solomon spoke of. Those codes can't be destroyed as much as you want to destroy the temple. It can only get stronger. And we recognize all those temples we built and destroyed for us now, to inform us, to take the temple back in our physical body, our energy field, the power of human consciousness embodied. That's what came through again and again in the Edgar Cayce readings. There is no higher power than a human soul in a body. He who has the body has the power. No wonder they want to try to take our body. to steal our soul essence, to infiltrate our body with their technology so they can run their nefarious, fake consciousness through our organic body. Is this okay with you, humanity? See, until we actually see the truth of these things, we cannot get anywhere in this war. And that was the Declaration of Independence. It was saying, look, we have an enemy. Look what they've done to us. We're all responsible unless we want to lose our freedom and autonomy right now. And so that was the deal. And so the new declaration that I'm working on, we're working on, I don't know, just trying to get it out there, these concepts. There's this description, a defining they. They only get one pronoun, okay? For messing up our whole gender identity, reality, and the sacred, most beautiful gift that life has. They only get one pronoun, okay? And it's they. And because they're not human. And they've been controlling our humanness, stealing our humanness, making fun of our humanness, using our humanness against us. But turns out humanness is the greatest power. We just didn't know. And so it's a human revolution. There's no avoiding it. And so now we got to figure out our next steps. And so the declaration is saying, okay, there's human, non-human. So we can just sort this out and understand that define what human is. And these are the tenets that have come through, very powerful, through Mother Earth. Direct voice, just this command of like, first, we're all connected, do no harm. Second, mutual reciprocity. We take care of each other and honor what's given with the flow of energy and appreciation and gratitude in order to grow more, celebrate more. More is more. The abundance principle requires mutual reciprocity. You don't get to just take parasites, okay? And then the third tenet is the power and the essential gift of the individuated human soul as a vehicle for God consciousness, the most precious devotional act for Mother Earth and for Source and ourselves is our individuated creative expression of the divine. And that's the new Renaissance. So this helps us understand, okay, this is what it's human. This is what Mother Earth wants. This is the original codes. It's written in the geometry of her form. We don't have to try to figure it out. It's in every cell of our being. And we can trust and rest and know this. And then we can identify, oh yeah, so this you're not that. You want to steal and cause deliberate harm in horrible ways that are against the laws of Mother Earth and the universe. And how do we allow this to happen? And it's just this deep shame feeling, this Mercury in Cancer, of like recognizing that we, as much as we're trying to stand up for Mother Earth and organic life, we ourselves have allowed ourselves to be defiled, like to be infiltrated and misused and raped. And it's just a gross feeling that when you realize you've been invaded and infiltrated. And maybe that's part of the truth that needs to come out, like how that's played out in our governments and our systems, how we've been invaded by these non-human, nefarious agenda forces. And can we tolerate that? Because we can't just be a little bit better. We got to be corrected all the way back the way that she wants it to be if we're going to survive. And it's down to the wire. And that's what this astrology is saying. It's a call, a clarion call, and there is clarity coming. See, once we get truth like this, it's unavoidably true who we are. And we have to run with it. And that's the Jupiter in Leo, expanding expansion of our light. And then, do we deserve it? the embodiment, the resources of what we need. And that's the quintessential essence of this next chapter of humanity. Right now, we claim it to our right, permission, and ultimate perfect path forward of unapologetically, without fear, fully embodying the light that we are. That we don't have to die, be persecuted, and be reborn. It's not required. There's no more sacrifice required. We've already done it. It's just a remembering. We've got these false authorities, though, constantly testing us, right? Oh, well, I don't know if you did good. Oh, I don't know if we might have to give you that lesson again. And then it's like, wait a minute. Who gave you authority over me? And didn't I learn this a million times before? And that's where we go back to these ancient initiation rituals where we made contracts and pacts with organizations, people. This is the biggest energy right now we have to deal with. People pretending to be good, helpful, spiritual, not good, helpful, spiritual. And hopefully there's the ones that are pretending to be bad that are actually good and helpful and spiritual, right? But these galactic Nordic aliens, sexy aliens or whatever, sexy reptiles maybe. So what's appearing and presenting itself as helpful and good right now in this time of the unfolding of all of the delusions is pretty much mostly lies. And this is where we have to break out of the gaslighting, break out of the mind control and the fog and say, wait a minute, no, that's not support. That is not helpful. That's not a friend. That's not my spiritual support. Those are not my people. That's not how, and they just have got us so mind warped. So in a way, it is required that our psyche break down, and it's this feeling of going totally crazy, but it's almost like this, that's just kind of part of the dismantling of this programming, because it's got such a hold, almost like there's a part of your brain or your consciousness, your organisms, your cells that can't breathe, from this technological infiltration. And so we're breaking out of prison, but from our organic cells, from the technological control in our very own body. But help is on the way for this. She says that the increase of energies, this life force coming back, but she says we've got to grab it out. We've got to grab it and take hold of it. We've got to enact our will. We have to stand up and say, this is the way life is supposed to be. And it's in alignment now. And that because we know what her laws are, and we can see how far it went away, and we demand and command correction. So the third part of the declaration is an attachment, kind of saying all the wrongs, and there's an action to this, just kind of bringing up this suppressed anger over what's been done to humanity and done to you, and kind of putting it out there as a list of how they've cloned a stolen soul essence, shortened our lifespan, interfered in genetic tinkering, mind control programs. You could just go on and on and on with the horrible things that have happened with this false control-based control over humanity. And then the final part of the declaration is an addendum that says what we were talking about, if the perpetrator who stole the goods is caught, which we see it's ours and it was stolen, then there's public recognition, the perpetrator held accountable, and the goods returned. That is the requirement, and that's what the war is about. We're not going to quietly go back to normal after what has been done to us, and that's why it had to get so bad. And it's like each of us saying, you know, that rebelliousness within ourselves, that Kali Ma, right? That Kali Ma was birthed out of Ma Durga. Ma Durga, the mother, the giver, the healer, the helper. She also fights the battles with demons. But one time she got so frustrated with those demons, and nobody can help her, right? Nobody else will stand up to the demons, not even Shiva. And she's the only ones. And then she just gets so irate and frustrated that Kali Ma is birthed out of her third eye. Okay. So this frustration, this is where we have to examine this whole story of whether or not, like, it's like we've been programmed over thousands of years to stay passive with this idea that we're going to incur the wrath of God, that it has to be God that does the justice. But if God is within, and that's what Jesus told us, then we are the justice. And so we have to, it's coming to mind what came through the Agar Casey readings of different types of karma, where there's the karma where somebody perpetrates something against somebody, and then you know, that person receives the same treatment, right? You're getting your tit for tat. And then that same karma, but then there's different karma where a perpetrator against you comes and ruins your life, and you didn't stand up to them, and you didn't do anything about it. And then that same perpetrator is going to come again and ruin your life in exactly the same way. So that's a different type of karma. And I think that we're really confused by the messages and programming in our spiritual understandings about whether or not it's okay to defend yourself in spiritual battle. And Mother says that you, as supernova souls, the advancement, that the level of authority we have in our own being of dominion, because we've already worked with these advanced technologies, we can't even use them unless they're in alignment with Mother Earth. They cannot be misused by us, especially within our very own body. We're not using directed energy weapons. We're not using crystals and amplifiers, only what's available in our very own body. And that's still stronger than any tower out there. So this is the most important thing that we need to realize. And of course, that's all the wealth, all the resources, all the energy comes right from here. Once we know that, we can discriminate against the forces, the parasitic forces, and we can own and contain our precious life force and use it for what we, Mother Earth, wants it to be. And so we have to call on this divine authority, divine intervention in our very own being, that there's no way out except for in. And the Jupiter square Chiron is like, you guys, if you came here with the abilities for light body, you gotta just, there's no getting out of it. You know? And you don't have to be killed and then come back to life, because we've already done that. If you're alive right now, you've had so much cellular regeneration. And once these technological toxins and controls are released, you will be aging backwards. Welcome to your superpowers. And maybe that's this whole thing, right? Just showing us our superpowers and saying you if you want to survive, you have to step into them. And you can't worry about what our people are going to think or judge you or burn you at the stake or any of that. That's why we had to overcome so much, you know? And it's like, watch out, world, because then you take two or more and it's contagious. I mean, this is why I can feel that in my personal life, I feel that I've been deliberately, intentionally surrounded by kind of not advanced souls or energies, that it's just kind of like there's no mirror, there's no reflection, there's no acknowledgement on this any other level besides the material existence. And it's another form of gaslighting, you know. But it's like, well, because the forces of control are so intimidated by two of us in the same space. And that's what we have to do. Now we know what the revolution's about, right? Are we going to declare independence, but then just roll over and go back to our devices? And, or are we going to really do something about it? And so, yeah, that's our task. And I'm sorry I haven't been able to do more. It feels like my hands have been tied. At my whole goal from the very beginning, I just knew I just need to bring supernova souls together. Who knew what a threat this would be to the establishment and the whole matrix? And yet here we are, stronger than ever. And we made it through. And I know every day is a struggle, but know this, like the programming breaking down, the grief, Mercury retrograde is just dealing with this grief, this failure. So much of the programming that's controlled us has to do with this self-depreciation. If we felt that we caused those Atlantean catastrophes, we're going to just continue to beat ourselves up over every little failure while they're doing truly evil shit. It just doesn't make sense. And we need to celebrate our success now and run with it. And it's our technology, it's our power. We've survived what we've tried to do. And like the only thing stopping us is our ability to find that autonomous peace. So this is really important. One of the things that they do with this constant harassment and surveillance in a psychic level, like in your head, in your thoughts, in your neighbors, just always, and it's this feeling that creates a continual anxiety, and it's a fear of being alone. But it's totally opposite. Because if they really left you alone with your own consciousness, you'd feel glorious. And you'd never feel alone. So then a creation of this total lonely feeling so that, of course, you'll accept the fake version. You'll accept the psychological handler. You'll accept whatever little crumbs this world will throw at you. And, that works as long as we don't see that we are the source of the abundance, and Mother gives us full permission to take dominion over it because we know we're in alignment. And we've been tested, tested to the point where that shit's going to backfire so hard. She says there will be hell to pay for what has been done to her. And that is unavoidable. And the hell that's being done to advanced, loving, conscious souls stops now. So I hope you're on board with me. Anyway, I really appreciate your support and your presence and your being here, and just the fact that you exist is so amazing and wonderful. And I can't wait to overcome these blocks, the dam breaking, and the money, the resources that reflect our true abundance coming in for the restoration, the correction, the rebuilding of our world. The resources must quickly be realigned to that. It's an affront to do anything less. And she's been alone and abandoned long enough. So those of us who hear the call, we listen, we stand, we fight, we don't give up, we come together. Do your creations, sing your song. This is our holy war, the revolution, the greatest act of rebellion is creativity. Take back that life force energy. And so incredibly powerful times. There's so much to talk about, but this week is really about the Jupiter square Chiron, the energy of the Sun in Cancer, square Neptune ahead of that, square Saturn after, Neptune and Saturn in Aries. Aries is the new potential of the original, the dream of the wholeness. And Neptune is pushing us, but Neptune is also, so Neptune in Aries is our dreams, delusions, our higher spiritual purpose, and it's that whole man, whole person, whole human potential. And but then Neptune is getting ready to turn retrograde actually on the 7th. And this Neptune retrograde in Aries is like, it's like we've pushed that dream as far as it can go right now. But in Neptune retrograde, it's that energy of like, we better fight for it. Like, what else are we going to do? And it's so crazy because we're all fighting just to survive. And isn't that make so much sense why they want to keep us in poverty and fighting to survive scarcity? Because we could never rebel. We can never organize. We can never be creative. And now we push through all those boundaries as we understand that we are the power and our body is the temple. And we built this temple. And we have all the codes within us. And so we run with it. And so the energy is just that we cannot win the battle or the war or get anywhere further until we see clearly the gift, the wealth of our humanity, our humanness, and our humanity, right? The definition of caring and taking care. And that's where we have to really brand ourselves so we can clearly see what is not in alignment with Mother Earth and stand up to it. So the other thing that is so huge is that we've had on the 4th, Mars moved into Gemini on the 28th. And this just brings this huge vibrational energy. We're still feeling this through the 10th or the 8th. 9th, 10th around, this huge activation of Mars and Uranus together in Gemini, our warrior. Gemini, high frequency vibration, buzzy, lots of thinking and downloads and higher frequencies activation. And so it's like our Earth is going like this. Our whole field is like, and it's like, what are we going to do with it? What is this about? And so at the same time that Mercury came into that conjunction with Uranus, also made a sextile with Neptune and a trine with Pluto, highlighting the kite that's forming. See, this is the thing. It's like there's this total war going on and lies and delusions, deceptions and stealing and corruption and just sexual distortion, just gross, creepy stuff. But in the backdrop, things are lining up perfectly. Because we have Pluto in Aquarius, Neptune in Aries, and Uranus in Gemini, all at 4 degrees. In sextile, it's creative solutions. And Pluto in trine to Uranus and air signs, the new renaissance. So we need new power structures that can support the new renaissance. And that's what's really happening behind the scenes. But that's us. And we got to stand up and take it. You know, but it just feels like that forming in the sky is kind of like the rainbow prophecy, right? Of we don't need destruction anymore. We've made it through. We're gonna the supernova souls. This was shown in a supernova birth chart of the whole goal of supernova souls is to rework, rewrite, and heal the dramas and distortions of the Piscean age, that humanity can evolve spiritually without catastrophe. There is no need for catastrophe in order for human spiritual evolution to occur. That's the rainbow prophecy. That's who we are. And that's what this whole North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo has all been about. And now they sit at 0 degrees. And then on the 28th, North Node Aquarius. So our path forward is into accepting and working with higher technologies in alignment. And the South Node Leo. What is keeping these visionary leaders from stepping on stage and showing us the way forward, showing us your light body, showing us the mysteries and the teachings that have been hidden for so long? I know it's scary, but it's our only way out, is that Jupiter, Leo, Chiron, Taurus, embodiment of our light. Bring all parts of our self home, incarnate in this body. That's what spiritual ascension is. And the Earth's ascending. She's embodying her light. That's Christ consciousness. Jesus is the bridegroom, the soul of Earth coming back. and we find this balance within ourselves as well. And take the inheritance, the blessing, the golden age that is due to us. It must be returned. The diamonds must be returned. The stolen goods must be returned. That's how it completes. We're not complete until that happens. We have to stand up and own this wealth, which is really all found within us. So we're being pushed and challenged and just kind of feeling trapped. The only answer is to activate into your higher power. And so that's what this Owning Your Energetic Field course is about. It's about being able to contain and own our energetic field from interference. But it's also about the exact techniques downloaded for you to remember. I can't teach you anything you don't already know, but to trigger your own memory of light body activation. That's ultimately what the Owning Your Energetic Field is about. Clearing, healing the issues of all the levels of the chakras in order to activate that one true chakra, the light body. And that's where you know you're connected, you know you're protected, you know you have your memory. Nobody can steal anything from you. You can work with Mother Earth and the optimal weather and the miracle healing energetically for the people around you instantaneously. That's the promise, the rainbow promise. Are you ready? So, that is this energy that the sun square Saturn and Neptune is like, we can't adjust this timeline to what it wants to be in the dream until we understand and come into, embody, and honor what makes us human, to define our authority so that we can define that they don't have authority over us, and know this for sure. Now on the 10th, Venus is going to make the move into Virgo. So this is part of the intensity we're feeling. Venus at the end of Leo, this kind of divine feminine desire, push for the mysteries, the hidden manuscripts, Mary Magdalene, all the stuff we haven't been told about the divine feminine to be exposed into the world. And then Venus moves into Virgo on the 10th, and will come immediately into square with the node, conjunction with the south node and opposition with the north node at 0 degrees. So that's on the 10th. So it's like the feminine weighing in at 0. And Venus moving into Virgo is this beautiful grounding out, a beautiful energy of coming home to Mother Earth, to what really matters, to working with the energies of Earth. Okay, so this fake simulated reality is the desired effect that the control forces is to interfere with our coherence of, and it feels like CERN has to shut down to rebuild. And isn't that a waste? All those magnets and metals and time and energy. What the hell is CERN about? If you can't tell us the truth, then why is it even happening? But supposedly they have to shut down to rebuild for 3 years. And there's a lot of reports of a shift and a change energetically, and kind of seeing like how we were all connected up to a grid of control. And that grid of control has to go down. And then, so they're using the older technologies, that's this rebloom of harassment technologies. Now that CERN's shutting down, but it's telling us we've got to run with this time. We've got to reach out and grab the blessings. We got to overcome the fear. We got to show the world who we are, and we cannot rest until we do. We cannot stop until we do, because they will devour us. But it's also interesting because like the haunting of demons after CERN shut down is so intense, and yet the protective light of the supernova soul is back intact. But what I am noticing, or perhaps, and what people are saying, is the CERN shutting down is showing us how artificial and hijacked simulated reality, and that was interfering with our coherence, because it was shown in this really cool book called The Intention Experiment that these studies done that intention, our prayers and our love, our healing, and can travel instantaneously without bounds but only with a coherent field. So it feels like the interference, technological interference in our brain of frequencies being fried like a bug by microwave frequencies, all designed to interfere with our coherence. And when that makes sense, that we're praying and loving and reaching out to our guidance so we can have a memory of the feeling that connection, but we can't quite feel it, but the memory has been enough. And you never gave up on that. So now that there's this change in this, we have to really reach out and grab a hold of our connection and coherence, and taking back these technologies that have been used for harm against humanity. Because where did they get the resources? If the AI in our body is life mimicking, but it doesn't have life of its own, where's it getting the life? Where's it getting the calcium? Where's it getting the piezoelectric energy? From our human physical form. And until we understand the free energy right here, they will continue to harvest it from us, from our emotions, luge, getting us all stirred up with all these stories and movies so that they can just continue to feed on us. And so humanity's got to wake up to this in order to take back our power. And this is where we stand. And that's like unavoidable truth. We've got to have truth, because that was part of going back to the Declaration of Independence. It was a revealing saying, the population might not be aware of all these transgressions that have happened against us. And we can't stand for it. Because the general population that's just going along with the matrix has no idea the way you've been tortured in your life and all that's been stolen from you. Because it's stealing from them too. But they don't care or notice. And just like the American Revolution, a very small amount of very powerful souls lived and died and fought and stood up. And this is where we're at. It's like, if we want organic earth, we got to fight for it. And we cannot listen to this. I mean, it's like, we know nonviolence is the answer, and we don't want to create karma. But for so long, I've been told that the level of interference, illegal interference in our timeline that's happened from these dimensional beings that are trying to control humanity, the level of that interference, we are entitled to the same level of interference with divine intervention, with helpful support. So when's that come? Do we have to earn it, deserve it, like the false god? Or do we just command it? Because we are. And this is everything. So this is the energy of Jupiter square Chiron. And that has, now Jupiter is at 1 degree, moving to 2 degrees on the 10th. And then coming into an opposition with Pluto. That will be from the 19th to the 23rd. And it's like, whoa, this is a complete challenge of the control and power structures of Earth. And Jupiter coming into the light saying, hey, the organic light embodied is the authority, and the rats are running, and we're not going to turn off the light. And we're not going to hide from you. We're not going to be scared. We're going to expose the darkness for what it is, finally. And that is the energy of Jupiter opposite Pluto. But Pluto in Aquarius retrograde is like this kind of grip on the evolution of the light workers, the technology, the golden age, the Aquarian age. And it's this wrestle for who gets to be in charge of the power structures of Earth. And so, of course, that's everything we talked about, and no wonder it's up on the table. Be open to great clarity and downloads as Mercury retrograde backs up to the sun on the 13th. And that is leading the day before the new moon. So the Cancer new moon, Tuesday, July 14th, but that's early in the morning Mountain time. So we'll be doing the activation on Monday, July 13th. So on that day, Mercury retrograde catches up to the sun, and the sun and Mercury together is great revelations. And Mercury retrograde in Cancer is helping us to understand and receive the blessings and lessons of Jupiter in Cancer. And so, but Jupiter, Mercury in retrograde in Cancer is there's so much grief and shame and regret because it's going back to what really matters, going back to the love of mother, going back to the fact that we live on an earth and we've been ignoring her, and she's been in chains and we've been allowing her to be raped and infiltrated like our own cellular space, and are hogtied, unable, know this massive power within ourselves and unable to do anything about it. And that seems that it's going to be changing. And here we are. So very powerful. And just to know that so the Mercury will catch up to the sun, and then Mercury turns direct on the 24th. That's just a few days before the nodes change signs. That's going to be a huge shift, turnaround. But Mercury will not come out of retrograde shadow until August 7th. And then Mercury will come into, remember, Mercury was in sextile with Mars, but they didn't make it exact. They were 1 degree out, and then they have their exact sextile finally. And that happens the 8th, 9th of August, right after Mercury comes out of retrograde shadow. And then Mercury catches up to a square with Chiron. And on the 10th of August, and then finally catches up to the Jupiter conjunction. They were 3 degrees apart when Mercury turned retrograde. So Mercury, Jupiter finally catching up. This is a culmination of this whole thing. Really, it's like we needed this whole Mercury retrograde in order to process and harmonize and understand and activate from the Jupiter in Cancer, which was so flavored by the Jupiter square Chiron, and we felt that all the way from September 2025. So it's a long time coming, baby. And here we are, we're almost to the top. And so that is really mid-August is where this whole picture of retrograde shifts, and we, kind of get into the gear of our next chapter. But this is so, so important of a time to heal, to feel, to take care of ourselves. Like she says, I know you've been through hell and back and you're barely surviving, but now it's time to fight the war. You're going to recognize, just like the loop-de-loop patterns and things going backwards to correct themselves, that you're going to also find, she says, the way things ripple into the future. You're going to find yourself really thankful for some shit you went through a while ago that prepared you to move through what you're going to go through now with grace. This is the time travel we have a capability of and permission for. So part of the reason they've messed us up so much is because it's a illegal use of time travel, but we have our own permission and ability of time travel, and it's simply premonition. But see, if our coherence and our timelines are all messed up, then you can't have premonition. So with the CERN and this whole thing kind of sorting out, we really need to take advantage, reach out for guidance, reach out for connection, and reach out for this regrounding into time and reality, because you'll have this recognition of something you went through over these last years, very difficult, but I can sail through this right now. Or something you felt a little while ago before it happened, so you could prepare your body and your field for an attack like that energetically, or something, or some weirdness. That's the energy. It's like presence. That's our gift. That's our birthright. That is ordained and allowed and in alignment. The time travel they're using to mess with us and our timelines is absolutely illegal and wrong, And so that's where we really need to remember that it's not that they can block, they can't stop this energy from growing and expanding. They can only try to block it and delay it. And now we must be the chalice, the cup, right? That can catch the energy of spirit, of abundance that's coming back into our world, to be like, no, I'm going to be here. I'm going to incarnate. I'm going to do the opposite of what they're trying to get me to do, give up my body, my soul, and run away and go crazy and commit suicide. No, I'm going to stand here in my presence and my authority, and you will have to deal with this. This is an unexpected problem, the X factor, the part that cannot be programmed out of reality or preordained by them. They can only jump around us and try to distract us from our true path. But we have to grab a hold of these techniques, these abilities, these gifts, the inheritance that is ours. Know it's ours. Stand in it. Be willing to show our light. That we've overcome so much, because the truth is, the only thing we need protection from is those that are claiming that they can protect us. The only thing we need protection from is from them, the perpetrators of evil. So we're scared and we feel that we need protection in the programming. And everything we feel we need protection from, they perpetrated on us. Right? We'll create trauma, we'll create fear, we'll create catastrophe, and we're going to save you from it. We're going to protect you from it. You just have to give us a little tithe, you know? Like, And this is the most important prayer and mantra. I take back all that's mine. It is yours by birthright. Wherever they have stolen one unauthorized picture, one bit of your blood, organic life force, or the piezoelectricity of your heart, it must all be returned. And you have to be willing and able, feel worthy and capable of handling that level of abundance. So this is the Mercury retrograde, radical self-care, radical alignment. It's kind of like all this interference in our psychic space after we say no means that, okay, if you're going to be here, you're all going where I'm going. All reset. If you can't handle the level of that power, it's this thing of like, oh, you don't want to cause any harm. You know what? If we need to cause harm to non-entity machines, we need to cause harm to non-entity machines, because they have no qualms at causing deliberate harm to us again and again. But how can we procure karma by defending ourselves against non-human entities? Can we really harm them? The reason they can do so much harm is because they have no empathy. So can we really harm them? If they have any empathy they might have developed from tinkering too deep into human consciousness, then they need to face that karma. So it's either you align, you face a karma, you repent, you come into alignment, or you get erased and eliminated, dematerialized. That's the technology that's available to us. And so we need to stop allowing them to try, because the name of the game at this point of the war is trying to get us to feel sorry for them. Because once they are exposed and we know our power, they're eliminated. So the only way they can survive is to play upon our sensitivities, our emotions, our love, our care, just what they used against us the whole time and made fun of us for it. Silly, weak humans. Well, we'll see who's the weak ones now. Who gets the last laugh? Who really has the power here? Because there's no avoiding the full exposure of the truth. And if we don't get it, we probably can't continue in our evolution. And so live free or die, right? Fight for the truth in your own mind, in your own body. Don't let them gaslight you. And let's fight to come together, two or more, right? The reptilian programming in the DNA is just that. It can't keep us from coming together. And imagine a bunch of us. And at these sacred spots where Mother's calling to us, just put your feet here, she says. Yeah, they did these horrible things here. Human sacrifice. But all you need to do, chosen one, supernova soul, organic human, lover of earth, is to put your feet here and it's healed. So, what if we sing our songs? And heal and protect ourselves with frequencies. That's the power within us. And that's this Mars-Uranus super activation of the power within us. Like, what am I going to do with all this power in my body after being so heavy, depressed, right? So we're like back and forth between heavy, depressed, and what do I do with all this energy? And that's kind of the deal with that. Interesting that then we've got that Neptune retrograde. We've pushed the dream as far as it can go. We want to get it right. And Mercury retrograde in Cancer is we're going to get it right according to her laws and rules. The only way we can go. Like, because the human power we just discovered comes from its ability to connect with the Earth's electromagnetic field. So it's up to Mother Earth how we progress and who gets to go. And I know we do. So celebrate that. All your life you've had people tell you, oh, you just think you're better than everybody else and just go get a job. Why can't you just be normal? What's your problem? And it's like, oh, you're an inheritor and a true aligned lover of Mother Earth, and you are the abundance. You need to be willing, able, capable to handle this. Most people, if they have a lot of money come into their life and they're not used to it, it's a disaster. And that's kind of what we need to look at as far as our own abundance coming back to our spiritual abundance coming back to us. What do we do with it? Is it a hot potato? Because that's what they're hoping. We'll be so scared and uncomfortable that we'll just hand it back over to them. So we got to learn to contain it. All of these, everything we need to do this is in the Owning Your Energetic Field course. It would be such a gift. If you can't even afford the 55, reach out to me. You still want to be a part of it? Let's find a way to all be together, creating these pathways to stand on Mother Earth as she's asking us to do, to listen to her, to hear her, to talk with her, to celebrate with her. She says, we're running out of time. Nobody seems to care or feel her or hear her call except you guys. And we're immobilized in our own little quarantined Faraday cage because they don't want us to connect with one other organic human soul, because guess what might happen? Supernova powers activate. And so here we are. I hope to see you at that Cancer New Moon activation. That's Tuesday. That'll be Monday, July 13th, next Monday. And the Cancer New Moon is happening at 21 degrees, 59 minutes, almost 22. Very powerful, speaking to the master builders of Earth, that us here building these original beautiful temples in the perfect alignment, in the perfect geometry, only to be destroyed. And yet energy itself cannot be destroyed. It can only be made stronger. And so this Cancer New Moon with that Sun Mercury is this massive remembering of who we are in an advancement of our souls and essence and what we've gone through, what we've accomplished, what we've survived. We don't need protection from anybody. We didn't need to hide from anybody anymore either, because we've braved those crowds. Have you seen them? Yeah, the masked people. So it's time to reap the rewards of the work that we've done, is the gift. She says, recognize how seamlessly beautiful and harmonized it can be because the work you've done previously. Take it and hold it. It wasn't a failure. It was you taking your power back, and now we complete the mission. The mission is not complete until we fully experience Mother Earth in the higher frequency vibrations, our full permission, and to express what we came here to express. It's not enough to just save the Earth. We must save the Earth and come into full expression of humanity's purpose and evolution. That's why she exists. That's why we exist. And So live with this love in your heart, this devotion, that everything in our life must be focused and aligned with activating into our power, deserving it, knowing we can handle it, finding each other, going to the places we need to go, standing on Mother Earth, dance, sing, and play, she says, with me. Let me witness my coming alive. Mother Dragon. So it's an exciting time if we can get through the fog of the recreated miseries, but know that it's going to change. Like, trust me, I've been saying this for this last 2-3 years. We've had Saturn in Pisces and the whole Pisces and Neptune, and it's like, whoa, when we don't have any planets in Pisces anymore, we're not even going to know what to do with ourselves, and we are here at 0. And it's interesting, Chiron at 0, North Node at 0, Pisces, South Node 0, Virgo. And it's just that feeling. I mean, everything is saying that this is the tip over into the golden age of abundance, but we have to step up, claim it, own it. And that is the energy of this Cancer new moon, taking Mother Earth back for humanity, for the master builders, for the alignment, for everything in alignment with her geometries. And we don't have to even argue or try to figure that out. It's written in the codes. So take heart that we are at this massive shift, and it's why your psyche's falling apart, your world, your life might be falling apart. But this Cancer retrograde, it's a short time to put it all back together. So be vigilant with your self-care, your love, your rest, your peace, your detox. It's going to pay off huge as you're ready to step into the light of your next chapter. Once you step on that stage in the light, showing who you are, it's not scary anymore. It's what you're here to do. And you're going to feel so good. Finally. You know, that reset back to Atlantean time that we've had in different sessions, it's like where we were scientists and we had full permission, full support to do the work that we were doing. Every day excited about that new discovery, cutting edge. Everybody on the team was on the same passionate path. You know, there's none of this like different factions working against like everything today. Okay, we haven't had this feeling since then. Very important reset back to Atlantean time, where we were fully supported by society, financially and spiritually, through the schools, institutions, research stations, doing exactly what we felt like we were supposed to be doing at exactly the right location with exactly the right group of people. And we have not had that since then. Mother Earth is calling. And where do you feel the grief and like the call, like our call for her, you know, this yearning of being in union again and working together. It is Christ consciousness, the bride and the bridegroom, and we're living it and breathing it. And so we have to claim it right here, our right and left hemispheres, our joy, our peace, the power of our electromagnetic field. And so please join us for that Owning Your Energetic Field. I've got a few openings for coaching, individual sessions. Also, the Goddess Activation 2 is happening, or you can get the replays of Goddess Activation 1. All the classes address owning your field, the most important thing, because if we can't contain it, then we can't grow that energy. We'll just leak it out to more parasites, and the parasites are feeding like never before. And yet that means that Christ consciousness is just behind them, just within, you know, because we are our own savior and each other's savior as we stand in these difficult times in the light, in the truth, in that celebrate that we did not get seduced into the corruption, into accepting the false reality, into going against our morality and our values. We all transgress some just to survive. And yet you held true to your core. And now we hold true to Mother's core beliefs, and we rest in her and trust and know that she's with us, we're with her, and that's all that matters. We can do anything if we're together. Create anything out of our energy field, everything we need. And then the hold on us of money and food and resources and air conditioning and heat and all that, just a complete and total lie. Because the actual truth is we are the source of the electricity. You don't need any wires or anything. What's keeping us from it? Lies. And so these must be revealed. And this was like, I created a whole other YouTube channel years ago called True Awakening. I wanted to talk about truths, deeper truths. You know, I talk about astrology, but deeper esoteric truths and what's coming out in the world and research and stuff like that. And all the videos got removed and censored. But I chose the name True Awakening because for so long I was like, how, I feel called to help humanity awaken, but what is going to be the trigger? How do we do it? And it was just this like truth, factual truth of what's been hidden from us is what causes the mass revealed, that truth revealed causes mass awakening. And so it makes sense that all the factions, want to keep that truth, but it's just like, it's like all these haystacks, and it's bursting at the seams, and the elephant in the room, and it's just is going to take one little match, and they're all going to go, right? And then maybe we can get those asleep humans to wake up and go be a presence, storm those news stations and get mad about all the lies. Obama legalized propaganda, and we've just gone along with that it's okay. And so we have this division of people who are open to something besides what mainstream news says, and then those that are indoctrinated and, divide and conquer agenda, keep the sheep at each other's throats so we never see what they've done to us. And so there's a great turning coming. There is a great revolution. It starts with truth, and it's unavoidable. It's coming. Hold your ground. Hold your peace. This truth coming is going to undo the gaslighting, and it's going to be so much easier for you to own your wealth, celebrate your wealth, and get out there and be a revolutionary. And it doesn't require killing anything or fighting even on that level. Just defending your territory. What's all war ever been about, she says? Territory. What's the true territory of Mother Earth that needs to be defended and protected? Human consciousness in a body. This is the territory we fight over. This is Mother. So we can reach out and connect through our very own body with her. I think it feels powerful, like every breath, just like, just setting in your consciousness, you take back what's yours, the energy that's been stolen, and you claim organic life in alignment with Mother Earth, and you believe her, you know her, you feel her, because they want everything. It's like when I go to sit down and do these videos, it's like a million voices come in and argue with me, to try to tell me these things aren't true. And those million voices are about to be like reset, reprogrammed. The minions are on our team now, working for Mother Earth. So get ready for a whole army of energies coming to that are just super excited about your projects and want to help you rebuild and restore Mother Earth. It's like, flip the switch. Instead of surveilling and stealing and obsessing and blocking and just bleh. It's like, oh yeah, what can we do to help? That sounds good, huh? Anyway, thanks for putting up with me, listening, being present with these energies. It's a rare breed we are, and yet we stand for all of humanity in such a powerful way. I'm so honored to know you. I'm so thankful that you have survived what you've gone through, and I want to hear your story. We can heal all this, and get it behind us and get on to the restoration. But until this unacknowledged victims of everything we've gone through is, we need rapid, effective healing. And that's this Mercury retrograde in Cancer for ourselves. so we can be the balm of healing for the world. So take care of yourself, hold true, keep breathing that organic life force, the power inside of you, the feeling of being connected, of being alive, the ecstasy of what life is supposed to be, that there's nowhere to get to and nothing to do besides being with her in the full experience. And all the technological and all the money and control and wars has gone into simply keeping us from that. And that's this Mercury retrograde in Cancer. We claim it. And with the sun in Cancer as well, powerful, because that new moon, Mercury will go over the sun and the moon just as they come into together. And so it's alignment of our greater realizations of who we really are and our emotions around them. And so great opportunity to heal and release all of this crap. So we get the truth and we see how evil they are. It's way easier to forgive ourselves and heal for being separate from Mother Earth and our loves, our each other's, and our God selves, our creation. So thank you so much for being here, listening to these updates. I'm so glad you're there. I need to know you're there, and that we're here together on this beautiful journey. And it's exciting chapters. There's no way around it. Exciting chapters lie ahead. And thank you for being here, for being on the team, Mother Earth's revolution. And we lead the way with the full permission and confidence. Understanding we're human, our humanness so valuable. Understanding we're not evil gives us the confidence to step into that light and fully embody it and show the world, because it's like, really, with all we've overcome, it's like, what are we scared of? You're going to burn me at the stake? What? We're done hiding. We've had enough. We're not going to just put up with it and go along with the program. And may all of humanity be empowered in their humanness so they can see this clearly, and we can take flight with the kites that are coming starting in August and September, bringing it all together. It's time to take it to a new level. So thanks for being a part of the human revolution and Mother Earth's dream, organic original dream. Hold that in your heart, in your soul, in your energy. Feel it, live it, breathe it. And let's try to reset from that place of love, giving us the strength to claim what's ours and defend our territory. Our most precious, beautiful goddess. So thank you so much. And thank you so much for your support. Donations continue to be incredibly appreciative at this time. Continual challenge on all levels. And yet here we are, waking up every day. Alive another day. Let's kick some ass, okay? We made it. Let's do it. I love you so much, Supernova Souls. I look forward to seeing you on that next update. Hopefully that Cancer new moon activation, Monday, July 13th. Class, let's connect. I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks so much for being there. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.